Hi, I'm Sean Edwards from Cafe Culture Magazine. I'm here in southern India on a 10-day coffee tour. I'm going to take you through the whole process of Indian coffee, from the picking, the processing, looking at the shade-grown, high-altitude coffees which this area is famous for, and I'm also going to look at specialty coffees like the Monsoon Malabar and look at that whole monsooning process. Also going to show you other unique coffees along the way, like the Mysore nuggets and those fully washed Robusta coffees. Hopefully over the next 10 days we're going to get to cup some of these beautiful coffees and learn about the flavour profiles. So please sit back, relax, enjoy, watch this short film and let me introduce you to the wonderful world of coffee in India. Here we are in the fields with the Indian pickers. They're picking around about 33 to 40 kilos on their average daily pick, but today, because the beans are so ripe, their daily average has been around about 90 kilos, which is fantastic. They actually do free runs over the seasons. Each month they'll come back to the tree. We're only looking for the red cherries or the bright purple cherries on the bush. You see there's still green cherries left on the bush. They'll pick up on the third run when they come back, but we're in the second run at the moment, being early February.
As you can see behind me, the coffee's being picked by the men and women here, and it's very hard work. And I just want to emphasise the amount of work these guys do. In my hands is about 40 to 50 coffee cherries, and this is what we need to make an average espresso back at home that we'll have in our latte and cappuccino. So it's amazing the work they do and the processes to get from here to our cup. And I just want to emphasise, how appreciative we should be of what the work these guys do for us to have a cappuccino back home.
This is a great little shady spot, isn't it, Steve? We're sort of in the heart of the plantation here, where it's fully covered by shade, which is very unusual in a lot of the coffee origins that we've travelled to, where it's been full sun.
It's fantastic, and you can see just in the quality of the plants all around us. They're all the same, they're beautiful, nice green leaf, and it's a slower growing process, but what we're finding in the roastery back in the cup is we're getting the benefits back there. We're here at the nursery in the plantation, and here's the next generation of coffee trees to be planted here. This is the HRC variety, and this will replace some of the old coffee plants that have been here. And some of those are up to 60 years old and still bearing fruit. And most of the trees here at 40 years old are in their prime. And this probably has a lot to do with the elevation. We're at 4,000 feet here. It's a little bit cooler, slower growing conditions. And what that does, why that makes the coffee so great, is in the cooler temperature and the altitude, the plant actually releases an enzyme which gives the coffee bean probably a second coating and protects it from the cold. And this adds a fantastic coffee profile to the finished product.
On the Thalanar Plantation, where we're watching the daily pickers come in with their quota for the end of the day and weigh it up, and this is how they get paid for their hard work they've produced. Most pickers will pick between 40 to 80 kilos a day, and when they go above that 40 kilos they get paid an extra bonus for that pick. Then the coffee's loaded up into our truck here and taken away to get pulped. The workers you see in the background have actually originated from Sri Lanka. They actually come from the Thalanar region in Sri Lanka, and that's how this area got its name. They were actually come when there was a war on Sri Lanka in the 1950s to the 1960s, and they were actually coffee pickers from Sri Lanka. They're very proficient at what they do, and they brought the skill of coffee to India, which was actually growing as an emerging business. So Pathy, the kids have gone home from school today. The government provide education for all the workers out here, even though we're so remote from civilization. Has that always been the way?
The plantation has a school here, and the land, basically we gave the land to the government and they provide the infrastructure in terms of building and the teachers. They've got kindergarten through to year 3. The decorations behind me is for the Republic Day, which was on the 26th of January, like Australia Day. So yeah, they had a bit of celebration at those days and things like that, yeah.
The beans have just been picked and the truck's delivered the fruit to this hopper where it's been filled up, ready for pulping. Next part of the process is the beans will be travelled down through water pipes into a holding tank on this side here. The good beans will actually sink to the bottom. The waste beans will actually float to the surface and be skimmed off. Then the pulping process will take place. We're just going to enter the pulp house at the estate. This is the process where the picked cherries are going to be removed, the skin's going to be removed and all the flesh is going to be removed, exposing the 2 coffee seeds. This is done mechanically by this heavy equipment over here. Quite noisy in here when the equipment's going, but basically the fruit's going to travel down this pipe here into the drum, and it's going to be mechanically stripped of this fruit and the skin. The green seeds will then travel down the pipework into the washing cycle. The washing cycle is going to remove the green mucilage and all the slime off the outside of the beans into the growing tanks. This is one of 2 processing plants on this estate. This is the larger plant, and this process is the first part after the picking. Coffee's been processed now, and what we've come up with is what we call the parchment. This is still a wet parchment, so it's come out of the pulping. So it's all the fruit and skin's been ripped off it, and basically the 2 seeds have come out. And what's been left now is this slimy parchment with still a little bit of mucilage left on it. Now it's ready to be sent off for drying.
The unique thing here at India is what they do with the waste pulp. What they do is actually mix it with water, cow dung and cow urine. They make this into a spray and spray it back onto the plantation. And this does 3 things. Firstly, fertilises the plantation. Secondly, the smell of the cow dung and urine keeps the bison off the property, which saves a lot of damage. And thirdly, it's a great way of getting rid of this waste product, which on this estate alone can be up to 80 tonne.
Here at the patios of Pathy, it's a lot warmer than the estate. We're actually a lot lower altitude. We've gone from 4,000 feet down to 1,000 feet, so it's actually a lot hotter. The temperatures here be around probably 25 to 30 degrees. We're up at the mountains, we're looking at around 15 to 20 degrees. Traditionally we've seen other patios where they're turning the coffee over with paddles. Here they're using their feet, which is quite unusual. We haven't seen this before. We've been introduced to a Robusta plantation here this morning. You see the beautiful green trees around me. These trees can yield up to 10 kilograms per tree. Robusta coffee in India is very popular amongst the local market for their beverages. We don't often see a lot of Indian Robustas back home, but one common one you might see is Indian Monsoon Malabar. The ladies behind me are actually strip picking the plant, so they're actually taking the green and the red cherries off the bush all in one strike. This is where they actually only doing one passover, not like the Arabica plants where you're basically taking the red ripe cherries off. Here they're taking all the cherries off the branch. Just behind me here in this Robusta plantation, you can see a gentleman behind me who's actually the spotter. He's actually spotting out for wild animals. Wild animals are a problem here. This morning we've already seen tiger tracks, elephants and wild boar, and you can hear the pickers actually speaking quite loudly, also to raise a bit of noise to scare the animals off.